start the show. Again, Kat with Agency Zoom. I'm our Vice President of Revenue. Very excited to bring the team, especially Raymond, in to speak to you guys on behalf of Coterie. They've done a phenomenal job. I don't want to say automating, but making the small business insuring process a lot more accessible and a lot more meaningful, faster, seamless, you name it. So maybe all the pros of the world of automation are the things that they're doing, and they're still simplifying it and putting agents and brokers at the forefront, and that's where you guys come in. We're fortunate to have started the partnership about a month ago now, and are excited to bring it to you guys because of how important the local agencies are to the whole team there. So again, so that everybody gets a brief introduction. I'm Kat. If you don't already know me, or if you haven't seen me a million times posting in our Facebook group, either because you're not in the Facebook group or because you turned off notifications because I'm so God blessed annoying, you probably know who I am by now. But again, I'm a Vice President of Revenue. I oversee our sales team, our customer success, support, and our marketing team. So partnership here, sales there to support the new Coterie agencies that do sign up. And then from a customer success standpoint and even customer support, as we begin to roll out our integration with the Coterie team, we will go ahead then too, and obviously be teaching you guys more about that. And like I said, our guests today are Raymond and a fellow Catherine. She'll be a little bit later to join us, but I believe Raymond's all settled here to be the star of the show. He actually recalled that it's St. Patrick's Day. So he's here in character, you know, with bells on, and really excited to get to be in front of all of you and kick off this partnership.
Well, thanks, Kat. Definitely excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and steal the screen share here. And we'll get started. Growing up in Boston, it is a big holiday. Obviously, it's St. Patrick's Day, a little bit different than in the past, but still time to celebrate. So what I'm going to do today is really just kind of go through, you know, a little bit of kind of what Coterie is doing, who we are, show you a couple demonstrations, and really work to give you an understanding of what we can do to really help your agencies grow. Because that's what it's about today, is making you more accessible to your clients and helping you grow your book of business. So, you know, I think it's been a long year. It's been said multiple times, but I like to try to be optimistic, and I do think that there's some bright spots to be seen in the small business market specifically. You know, even in the depths of some of the, you know, the COVID closures and things like that, there's a ton of people out there taking a risk and creating their own businesses. If you look at kind of some of the economic data that comes out, you know, that macro level view, you know, back in April, we were able to see one of the most historic actual number of applications of new businesses that has come in, you know, historically. And we saw the similar growth again, just at kind of the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So overall, even though a lot of businesses are unfortunately closing, there's a lot of new businesses that are going to spring up and kind of come out of that. And that's really kind of where Coterie is trying to step in and help out, is providing that solution for those small business owners that are just getting started, that maybe don't have a ton of experience, but want to kind of jump in and be able to afford them number one, an affordable business owner policy, but also an easier one to get access to, not have to answer a bunch of questions, underwriting elements, things like that. So, you know, we'll kind of go over what we can do and how we're offering it, and some of our limits at this point. So when you look at kind of what makes Coterie different, you know, I think the three key things are simpler coverage, better pricing, and 100% digital underwriting. So what we've done is we've have some great fronting carriers. So we are an MGA, but different than some other MGAs in the market, we actually have filed all of our own products with each of the individual states. You know, we're available, you know, close to nationwide. There's 3 states that we're currently not available in: New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. But every other state, we're able to sell a BOP and GL policy. We've using an admitted product, standard ISO-based forms. but we've removed some of the additional endorsements and other things that maybe some other markets add to these coverages to kind of increase the price, or just that aren't necessarily needed or really wanted by the insured. They're just kind of forced to have to buy them. And what that does is it enables us to provide better and more competitive pricing for those small businesses. And then finally, the 100% digital underwriting piece is where we help give you the efficiency that you need to better serve these customers. And what you'll see is that we, don't have a referral process. We're going to give you a very quick and straightforward answer right away. Within a few seconds, you'll know, is this a risk for Coterie, or is this, something that I might need to go to another market for? And we're also going to deliver the digital tools that you would need to do that. So in terms of our product offering, as I've mentioned, we have a business owner policy. A general liability can be a standalone. It is actually on the BOP coverage form. It just includes an endorsement to exclude the property coverage. For most of the country right now, our fronting carrier is Benchmark Insurance. They're an A-rated carrier. In Florida, we are writing on ClearSpring A-. But again, it's the same product regardless of the state. It's the same filing, our own rating, our own kind of underwriting. Everything's kind of the same across the country. We can integrate within platforms on a lot of different levels. That's why we're excited to work with Agency Zoom, people that are really helping you provide a better experience to customers and manage those relationships. My goal as the kind of the digital agent broker distribution is my job isn't to drive you to our dashboard and to drive you to our own portal. And it's my job is to make our quotes accessible where you're doing your work and where you want them to be accessible. And so that's why we're excited about this partnership. We're offering competitive commission rates and the immediate access to policy docs and insurance certificates really just helps you, reduce the time from contact to close. In terms of guidelines, these are kind of broad across a lot of the different products. We are a single location, single named insured. We can do our annual revenues up to 10 million, do up to 50 employees, and no more than 2 claims. The biggest thing, again, is we're willing to write new or startup business. We don't ask, and I'll show you kind of our application here in a little bit, but we don't ask, how many years in business. We don't ask a lot of that information. We're pulling in data sources that kind of help us do that underwriting piece. So it's not like a post-bind underwriting. It is, all pre-bind underwriting and allowing you to have confidence in the product that you're selling. In terms of our BOP product, our minimum premium is $300. We can do property limits up to $1 million, BPP up to $500,000, and we offer a standard liability of $1 mil, $2 mil, occurrence and aggregate limits. Some of the target sectors, areas where we're seeing a lot of success is the really small trade contractors. So this means your plumbers, electricians, your HVAC, carpentry. What we're not doing is your general contractors, your excavators, and some of those heavier trades. Wholesale, we can do a whole host of different wholesales depending on the goods that they're distributing, any retail, and then, having some of the professional coverages that we do, you're able to really serve some of that professional, legal, scientific, technical services. So your software developers, your consultants, any of those, we're able to offer that coverage for that one person that's, decided to work more in consulting engagements than a full-time job. And then finally, I would throw kind of healthcare in conjunction with kind of personal services. So everything from a doctor's office, dentist's office, to the yoga studio, the barbershop, the nail salon, things like that. Those are all areas where we can provide solutions for. In terms of professional liability, we can offer up to $1 million occurrence limit, and that minimum premium will be tiered based on the limit that is selected. So for that, it's a $400 minimum premium, slightly less in terms of revenue. We're only doing $6 million, but think of these as your agents, your real estate insurance agents, the technical side, so your consultants, software engineers. In terms of the technical side, like we're not a market for legal, lawyer's liability, or like a true architect and engineer involved in construction or structural work. It's more of those kind of in that advising consulting role, kind of what would be traditionally called like a miscellaneous professional liability policy. Now we get to the fun stuff. So, what's important and what I really wanted to help demonstrate is kind of what we can enable from a digital experience. So what you're going to see here is this is a partner of mine that's been kind of working with us to help develop some of these drop-in or these custom link capabilities. So she's made a website that she's driving traffic to or having individuals go to, and you'll see here that we've enabled her to basically embed a direct-to-consumer quote flow directly into her site. So you'll see that you get a quote instantly, and then this is our direct-to-consumer friendly flow. It's very similar. It's the same information that you'll see when I demonstrate kind of our agent-facing flow, but it's a very simple, easy to navigate tool that really allows you to have some of your clients be able to self-serve themselves when they're looking for a policy. This link can be shared in an email, can be shared on a website, a lot of flexibility in how you use it. And we're, finishing some of the development work here to kind of make sure that you have good access to all the data that we could provide in the coming weeks. So, in the next 2 to 4 weeks, we'll have an updated release that'll give you a little bit more visibility into that quote activity that's being driven from your websites or your email campaigns. So you see, as soon as we get to a point where we can actually provide a rate, we do. It'll dynamically change as they make different coverages selections. So it's just really trying to help drive them through the funnel. We have seen good success, good close rates, good finish rates through this. And really, I'm excited to learn kind of what type of capabilities or feedback that you might have that would make this even better. Your name, the agency name, will appear in the upper right-hand corner on those screens. It's kind of grayed out in this screenshot here. But that's currently the co-branding, but obviously we'll be looking to expand that as we get more users in and things like that. And you see, they're able to just buy the policy if they want. So I'm going to pause here and see if there's any questions before I jump into kind of showing you what we would call our dashboard or kind of the agent portal.
Raymond, at least teeing it up now, our first question that came in from Brian was, are these standard line companies?
Yes, so it's admitted. This is not E&S. This is kind of your, the traditional ISO BOP form that most standard national carriers are using to provide these coverages.
Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else? You guys are welcome to throw it into the chat. You also can use the little raise hand function. Right now, you guys are muted just so that it's not outright disruptive for everybody else. But feel free to throw it into the chat. And then if you don't want to throw it into the chat and have an elaborate question to ask, raise your hand and I'll go ahead and unmute you then. We also had a question that came in privately. Are we using your license or our own?
Your own. So what we do is we will affiliate you depending on the state that you're operating in, if needed, when you sell a policy. But it is you own the customer, you own the policy. So it is under your license.
Wonderful.
In all reality, we're operating like a carrier in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I've tripped up and even said a couple times now, carrier instead of MGA because of how close you guys are.
Very close, but a little bit easier to get started in the MGA route than in the carrier route. All right, so what you see here is what we call our dashboard. So, as an agent, this is where you're able to go in and transact and kind of, quote risks quickly and seamlessly. You can see your quotes. I'm in a test account right now. Find my mouse. Okay, hold on one second. confirm you can still see this page. I got my mouse back. All right, so you can check here. You can see policies, your account. This is where you can change your password, add agents, things like that. But really what I wanted to show you is kind of our new quote, how you would get a quote from Coterie. We have an instant qualification checker. What this means is this is the input that we're using to kind of underwrite the risk, make sure that it's something that we can provide coverage for. And as far as like how you select an industry, it's going to be kind of a natural language description. So even if I wanted to find insurance for a Jedi, by typing in Jedi, you see there it returns performing artist or martial arts instruction. So it is easy. You can do accountant, and it'll show you a couple different varieties of accountants that you would do. It's based off of actually the Ask Kodiak Suggest API. Those that might not know, Ask Kodiak is a great tool for carrier appetite. They've done a lot of great job kind of leveraging the NAICS standard in terms of classification, which is much more recent and relevant than the old traditional like ISO GL or proprietary Bob codes. So really we're just looking to describe the industry, describe the work that they're doing, and that's how you kind of select that class. So I'm going to select an accountant in the state of Texas. You just enter your zip code and the number of employees. I'm just going to do a single employee business. It's just myself. If I had claims in the past, or if your customer has claims in the past, you would just select yes. We ask that you kind of input, roughly the size of the account and then give a description. We don't require loss runs, particularly, targeting new in business. They're not relevant anyways. Targeting some of these small ones, they haven't been around potentially long enough to have that, but we do ask that you provide some claims history if they have it here just directly in that application. So once you click next, you're going to get that decision right away. So it says here, I'm approved. It'll tell you what lines of business we can write given that state, that risk type, et cetera. So I could quote either a BOP or a GL or a professional liability policy. From here, I basically complete the application. We've already bridged over a lot of the information that you've inputted, so you're not going to have to re-enter it. So here I'll select that I'm a new in business. Annual payroll does include the owner in this case. So I'll say I pay myself $50,000 on $50,000 in sales. If it's truly a new business and they have no idea, they're pre-revenue, the minimum that we require for both a payroll and a sales standpoint is $1,000. That'll help generate that minimum premium policy that really they would qualify for, and we'll continue to kind of monitor that as we go forward. So after businesses, I'll just go to the coverages. I'm going to select which ones you want. So I'm going to do a business owner policy and a professional liability. You'll see here, you just select your location type. So again, we do accept home-based businesses, but it could be a building lease, building owned, commercial condo, kiosk, those are kind of your standard locations for businesses. You'll type in the address. It is a Smarty Street. So it does return addresses as you're typing. And you'll see here when you select the address, there we go. It is verified. You'll select your BPP limit. I'll leave it at the 25,000, but you can type in whatever you want up to 500,000. And then you just select your deductibles. You see our options for deductibles here. And then you have 1 million and then some damage liability deductible, and then your PL limit and deductible. And then you just finish off the application with the contact information. So we'll do Ray Accountant. And then update your mailing address, particularly if it's different. And so you see again, it's verified. From here, if there was an additional like named insured, you could add that in this section. But otherwise you click generate premium. And what this will do is it'll show you that this is now ready to bind. So it'll have the price here in the upper right-hand corner. You can edit any of these screens. So like if they come back and say, you know, the business details, oh, payroll isn't 50,000, it's, you know, 40,000. So you can make that change here, click save and view, and it'll automatically update that premium if it did cause an impact to that. This is a minimum premium policy between the two lines. So that's why it's not really updating. You could change deductibles. Again, it'll update that. Like, so let's say I come down here and I don't want a full million. Let's say I want to do 50K. You'll see there it automatically updates that monthly premium. If you need something to be able to send to the customer, we will be enhancing this quote proposal going forward. It's kind of finishing design process now, but we do have the ability to at least kind of do a quick save it as a PDF. It'll give the customer an overview of the limits, kind of some of the information, and then, you know, a signature and date that you can keep for your own records. We don't require you to return any signed applications or anything else like that to us. Directly, it's just more for your own records and things like that as you need. This will obviously get enhanced to be a much more kind of client-facing proposal that you can use with your clients. When you're done, it's as simple as review and pay. It'll dump you right into a credit card screen. So our forms of payment is just credit card right now. And then you can either do a monthly payment plan or an annual. So, you know, annually, you're basically just paying the whole year up front. Monthly, you're going to be charged this month, the first month, basically at the time of issue. And then we will bill directly those other months based on that credit card that was inputted. So it's really simple, really easy to get through our quote flow. It'll save you a ton of time. You're not going to have to worry about asking what type of roof type or how many square feet their location is, things like that. You know, there's a lot of other great sources that can provide that information and take that burden off of both you and the business owner who just wants to get covered and get back to what they're doing. So I'll pause again in case there's questions, and then we'll kind of talk about those that are interested, how you get to sign up to work with Coterie.
We did have a couple questions come in. So
Sure.
most recent one was, will our agency name show up on the deck page?
Yes, it is. So right now, it isn't, but in the next release of our deck page, your agency name will show up. So the intent is to have your agency name show up on that deck page along with ours, and then obviously it'll be the carrier, you know, will be shown as well.
Great. And then the other question that came in just as you kind of started presenting, and I'm sure agencies are starting to get a feel for this now with how quickly you guys are growing, is ballpark of how many agencies you guys are working with. And then we had another one too that came in and said, where are you guys from? Where is home base besides Boston? So they were trying to
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we really officially launched at the end of January, and we're approaching 1,500 agencies that have signed up thus far. So, you know, we've worked with some different networks and others to kind of offer some opportunity, but we are appointing on a direct basis as well. The company is headquartered in Cincinnati. We are a fully remote company, obviously, you know, given what's going on, and we have employees all over the place. I'm actually, you know, hosting this from the lovely New Hyde Park in New York, which is out on Long Island, just outside of Queens. So yes, I am a Boston boy living in enemy territory, and I get grief about it all the time back home. So I still wear my Red Sox hat with pride as I walk around the streets, and you know, thankfully the rivalry isn't quite as strong as it used to be. So I don't get spit at or anything else anymore now. So that's good.
Awesome. And then we've had a couple other questions come in too. So there is no application for signature. Anything we can print to have them sign for E&O?
So you could have them sign that quote, you know, because basically the application is stored, and we store the applications that are submitted. But you could have the insured, there was a block that we added on that kind of save as a PDF that would allow you to have them sign that for your own records, so you can say that they're opting into those coverages.
Excellent. And then most recent question, and this is a public question as well, so everybody can kind of follow along with this one. Will there be a minimum production requirement?
No, there are no minimum production requirements with us. Really, we're looking for quote activity and looking for you to actively engage One of the reasons we reached out to Agency Zoom to form this partnership is we're looking for agents that are trying to increase their digital footprint and streamline operations, because we feel like we have a great message and a great product that would resonate within that group. So that's why we're here today, is because we're looking for agents like you on the call that are really investing in trying to digitize their operations.
Last one, I think here. Actually, it looks like a couple people are maybe still typing. How can we see the coverage forms and exclusions?
Sure. We do have sample policy coverages. So there isn't necessarily any class-driven, particularly on the BOP, exclusions. Our exclusions that we add are kind of the more standard ones that you'll see, like the total pollution exclusions, the mold, all those standard ISO. So we do have a full list of all those, the coverage forms, basically. So like the standard ISO BOP, and then everything that's attached to that policy package available that you can review. One thing I didn't show, let me see if I can get back to that quote that I was doing. So if you look here, there's this all coverage details. So you'll see some of the additional coverages that are available. Kind of your standard BOP coverages that you would see, your outdoor property, your fire department service charge coverage, electronic data, your civil authority, things like that. So, we are adding endorsements every couple of weeks to give you some more customization of this. We'll be adding a blanket additional insured endorsement. We can do a waiver of subrogation. We can do a primary non-contributory, all those type of coverages that your contractors are going to want and need. So, this is kind of what we've launched with, and we're looking for agents ready to grow with us.
Wonderful. It seems like we're at a good pause point with questions. There don't seem to be a lot more coming in. So whatever else you would like to show and share, I know you have a couple more things still, a couple more tricks up your sleeve.
Just a few, and I'll put this link and stuff in the chat here in a minute, but we do have a link that can basically go to sign up and become an agent. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of what that process looks like. So you'll land kind of on, a page here where it'll say log in or sign up. Basically, you'll see on the right-hand side, you got your sign up section. So if you are don't have a relationship with Coterie, want to get appointed, you can get in and start quoting instantly by filling in this form. So what you would do is under the account type, select channel partner. You would basically be your own, channel partner. We use kind of like master agency in some other instances. So you'll put your first, last name, agency name, your individual national producer number, not the agency national producer number. You'll input your email and you'll set your password. As soon as you do sign up, it'll just ask you to log in with those credentials that you just provided. And once you're in the platform, you'll see this kind of affiliation pending approval flag will be on your screen. And if you click on it, it'll drive you to, this is under your, my account. There'll be the affiliation tab, and you'll see here, this is where you would start like a basic questionnaire, upload your W-9, upload your E&O certificate. We'll quickly review those things and toggle that affiliation on our side, and you'll be able to issue policies. So we try to make it as seamless and easy as possible. The reason we ask for your national producer number is we have a partnership that we can basically, with a company called Agent Sync, that has a real-time integration with the National Insurance Producer Registry. So with that information, we can pull back all your licenses, what states you're licensed in. So you're not going to have to copy, if you have 5 or 6 states, I don't need a copy of each of those licenses. You're automatically going to be able to write in any state that you have a license. If you add a state down the road, you don't need to tell us. You can check to make sure that it's updated, but if it's been updated with NIPR, we'll automatically be able to see that and allow you to issue policies in those states. If you're not licensed in a state and you get to that and you do try to purchase, it will tell you, you'll get an error message basically saying that this NPN is not licensed to sell in that state. And if there's any hiccups there, please reach out and you can kind of ask questions. So that's as simple as we make it to sign up. You're more than welcome to reach out to me directly, and I'll be sure to include my information here in the chat. Let me just go ahead and copy this. So with that, let's see if there's any more questions.
We did have one more question that came in. Are the policies occurrence-based?
Yes, except for the professional liability policy, which is a claims made, which is why you do have like a retro date available if they need to purchase that, if they're coming off of an existing policy.
Wonderful. I can go ahead, and it looks like Ray has put his email in there too. And unlike me, Ray is more formal with his email. So it is Raymond, not just Ray, at Coterie.
They didn't ask me. They just did it automatically. So I would have gone with Ray, but that's okay.
I just don't want people to start emailing Ray and then they never get to get a hold of you.
Good point.
CoterieInsurance.com, guys. The link that he mentioned is in the chat now. We're going to go ahead and get that added to our Coterie landing page as well. So many of you go to the Agency Zoom homepage when you sign in. I know some of you have actually saved our login page. So now I would encourage you every so often at least to go back to just agencyzoom.com and log in. We have a whole ecosystem now with a lot of our partnerships. So you'll catch some things before they even go on social media, which Coterie was definitely one of those. We have been working on this for a while through an exceptional recommendation from one of our, I don't think we should say favorite agents, but Bradley Flowers does a really nice job. He's definitely ahead of the curve on tech, and he recommended Raymond and the whole team, I think, about when Ray and I got connected on LinkedIn and first started talking too. So it was fortuitous, really well timed, and it's something that you guys do have that whole landing page. We'll go ahead and even post this webinar on the landing page as well, along with the link and ways to get a hold of the Coterie team. So really appreciate it. If people have more questions, I can kind of take a moment now to unmute everybody. So if you want to be unmuted, go ahead and throw in the chat, just type in me and I will unmute you. That way you can ask more elaborate questions. Or if there's anybody who has anything that we've been missing, more than happy as well to address those questions just through the chat. I'm not seeing a lot of little seagull me's coming in through the chat. So Ray, I guess you did a wonderful job. Not a big
I answered all the questions before they were asked, so I guess that's a good sign. Just showing how easy it is to work with us. That it's pretty straightforward. So excited! Don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. Happy to set up time to learn more about your agency. And go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Are you guys going to integrate any kind of lead service with this?
Our intention as Coterie's API continues to develop, which Ray mentioned a little bit about too, is that yes, as you have leads that originate in Coterie from your website, because you're going to have those co-branded portals and such, that those will come into Agency Zoom. I know I've had a couple agencies even today during the webinar who are chatting me and are really excited about our tag function, that your commercial lines automation, if it's tagged Coterie, or if the lead source is even Coterie, can adapt and be more hands-off for you guys on some of these smaller policies or some of the business owners that might not be as sure of themselves. You guys can dive in then, at appropriate times. So yeah, we're really looking forward to our technical integration. Right now we have our partnership, to put you guys in a successful place. Well, as the API for Coterie's side continues to develop, we're going to do a technical integration. And we will probably call on some of our different agencies. Roger, like your team, I know you do a nice job with technology, like a Bradley Flowers and such. We'll probably call on you guys to actually help us build that out and do a lot of the staging and details on that. So we're really excited to have that Venn diagram of users who can really dictate how they want it to work.
Okay.
Anybody else? I guess you guys are able to unmute yourselves too if necessary. All right, well, thank you so much. I'm going to stop recording. That way too, if anybody's bashful and just doesn't want to be in